Imagine living in a world without the sound of traffic or the hustle and bustle of a busy city. A world where the only sounds you hear are the hum of machines and the occasional whisper of your fellow colonists. But what will life be like in this isolated and challenging environment? Join us as we explore what it takes to survive and thrive in a lunar colony and discover the incredible possibilities that lie ahead for the future of humanity in space. Colonization of the moon or lunar settlement is a process or concept employed by some proposals for claiming robotic or human exploitation and settlement on the moon. Laying claim to the moon has been declared illegal through international space law, and no state has made such claims, despite having a range of probes and artificial remains on the moon. While a range of proposals for missions of lunar colonization, exploitation, or permanent exploration have been raised, current projects for establishing a permanent crewed presence on the moon are not for colonizing the moon, but rather focus on building moon bases for exploration and to a lesser extent for exploitation of lunar resources. History. Colonization of the moon has been imagined as early as the first half of the 17th century by John Wilkins in a discourse concerning a new planet. Colonization of the moon as a material process has been taking place since the first artificial objects reached the moon after 1959. Lunar landers scattered pennants of the Soviet Union on the moon, and U.S. flags were symbolically planted at their landing sites by the Apollo astronauts. But no nation claims ownership of any part of the moon's surface. Russia, China, India, and the U.S. are party to the 1967 Outer Space Treaty 9, which defines the moon and all outer space as the province of all mankind, restricting the use of the moon to peaceful purposes and explicitly banning military installations and weapons of mass destruction from the moon. The basics. Unfortunately, setting up camp on the moon is much more difficult than sending astronauts there for a few days. Unlike the Apollo astronauts, lunar settlers wouldn't be able to carry all their rations and resources on their rockets. It would be too heavy. Instead, they would have to make much of what they would need to survive out of the extraterrestrial resources to hand. Unfortunately, these resources are pretty barren. But with ingenuity, they can be transformed into almost everything a human needs. The first task is making breathable air. Surprisingly, this is fairly easy, as the lunar soil is 42% oxygen. Using heat and electricity, this oxygen can be harvested by robots. Already, NASA has developed and field-tested prototype robots on Earth, capable of fulfilling this role. Any survival training expert will tell you that water is next on the list. Water is 2/3 hydrogen and 1/3 oxygen. The harvested oxygen offers plenty of the first ingredient. Sourcing the second ingredient is more difficult. At present, the only option would be to send regular supply ships filled with liquid hydrogen, and then mix them. A better solution would be if we could find water on the moon. Though the moon has no liquid water, in 2018 NASA confirmed it does exist on the surface in ice form. Rovers could find, drill, and gather this ice. Settlers would use this water for drinking, and extract the hydrogen and oxygen for rocket fuel. And they would also save some for another key element of survival, growing food. Yet this brings up another problem. Can plants grow on the moon? Unable to bring tons of rich, fertile Earth soil with them, the only option would be to use the lunar soil. This soil is like dusty, very fine sand that would rapidly erode from a plant's roots. Life on moon is like. Life on the moon would be very different for explorers than life on Earth. From its lighter gravity to its lack of air, the moon is a harsh mistress, just like the late sci-fi author Robert Heinlein claimed. The moon has no atmosphere, no weather, and no oceans of water. Its surface is in a perpetual vacuum. Pairs of astronauts have lived on its surface only up to 3 days at a time, in the tiny lunar module of the Apollo program. Moon has almost no atmosphere, so there's no air for us to breathe. There is no water on the moon either, and we need to drink water to survive. Days and nights on the moon last over 2 weeks long. This means the surface reaches super hot and cold temperatures, as high as 123 degrees Celsius or as low as -233 degrees Celsius. Someone also wanted to know where the moon came from. We know that the moon formed about 4.5 billion years ago, but scientists don't know for sure how it happened exactly. Right now, there are four major theories, and the one most people agree on is the giant impact hypothesis. This theory suggests that a planet about the size of Mars struck Earth. This vaporized the outer layers of Earth. A whole lot different. Life on lunar colonies will be vastly different from life on Earth. The Moon's environment poses several challenges that must be overcome for humans to survive and thrive. One of the most significant challenges is the Moon's lack of atmosphere, which means that the colonists will be exposed to high levels of radiation and extreme temperature fluctuations. To counter these challenges, lunar colonies will likely be built underground or within protected domes. The habitats will need to be self-sufficient, with systems in place for producing oxygen, water, and food. Technology such as 3D printing and advanced robotics will be critical in building and maintaining these colonies. Life in the lunar colonies will also be highly regulated, with strict schedules and routines in place to ensure the colonists' safety and well-being. The lack of gravity will also present unique challenges, and the colonists will need to undergo rigorous physical training to maintain their health and fitness. Despite these challenges, life in the lunar colonies will also present many opportunities for discovery and exploration. The lunar surface is rich in resources such as helium-3, which could be used for nuclear fusion power. Lunar colonies could also serve as a launching pad for further exploration of the solar system. Overall, life in lunar colonies will be challenging but also full of possibilities. As humans continue to push the boundaries of space exploration, the establishment of lunar colonies is an exciting step towards a future beyond our planet. In conclusion, the idea of establishing a lunar colony may seem like a far-fetched dream, but it is rapidly becoming a reality. As humans venture beyond our planet, we must adapt to new environments and develop innovative solutions to the challenges we face. Life on a lunar colony will be vastly different from life on Earth, but it presents us with a unique opportunity to explore, discover, and advance as a species. From building self-sufficient habitats to harnessing the Moon's resources for sustainable energy, the possibilities are endless. If you enjoyed the video, kindly subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on our videos.